How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to 2A News Now. And as always, I appreciate everybody that takes time to watch my videos. Let's talk a little bit about suppressors. Some people call them silencers, but suppressors don't completely silence a firearm. But of course, those on the left and a lot of the old school Republicans, as well as the general public, don't know much or anything about suppressors. All they know about them is what they see in the movies. And of course, in the movies, they show that suppressors make pretty much no sound at all. And that's not true. A suppressor lowers the sound on a firearm anywhere between 20 to 35 decibels. And a lot of people say when you use a suppressor, it's just like wearing hearing protection. And of course, a lot of people on the left trying to generate fear about suppressors because of what they see in the movies. And sometimes they try to say that they're for criminal use only. And of course, recently, one was used in a high-profile crime, but that was a 3D printed suppressor. And the main reason law-abiding citizens would like to have a suppressor is, of course, saving on your hearing. I've had firearms most of my life. I think we've all done it. You forget to put your hearing protection on when you shoot the first shot of the day. Or if you were just using regular headphones, this has happened to me a lot, that when you're aiming a rifle, they kind of slip off a little bit, and I've got permanent ringing in my right ear. So just imagine you went into a gun shop or a gun show, and suppressors were treated just like any other firearm accessory. And they were no longer an NFA item or part of the Gun Control Act. And that's what two Republican senators are trying to do. And also just imagine, like a regular firearm accessory, you wouldn't have to pay a $200 tax stamp. And once that bill did pass, and more of these were sold, the prices would surely come down some. The two Republican senators are Senator Mike Lee from Utah and Representative Michael Cloud from Texas. And they are co-sponsors on a bill called Silencers Help You Save Hearing, also known as the SHUSH Act. I think it's a great name for the bill. And as I mentioned earlier, a suppressor that's attached to a firearm, not only does it reduce the decibel of the firearm when it's discharged, but also it can reduce recoil and muzzle flash. But like I said earlier, it's not going to completely take away all of those things. So I hate it when people call them silencers or say that they're silencers because they're not. So in the past, a lot of people haven't purchased suppressors because of the $200 tax stamp, because of how much they cost, and the 8 months to a year waiting time to get approved to get your suppressor. But of course, over the past year, suppressor wait times have gone down quite a bit. But also you have to get fingerprints done and get passport photos done. Do you guys remember quite a few years ago, I think it was 7 or 8 years ago, that in Congress the SAFE Act was proposed? That bill would also have removed suppressors from the NFA, but it would require background checks. But remember, the SHUSH Act would take that out of the process. You wouldn't have to pass a background check to get a suppressor. And of course that scares a lot of politicians on the left and on the right. And of course all the people in the United States that don't know anything about suppressors. And I'm no expert myself at all. But here's the thing. When people purchase a firearm at an FFL, they have to pass a background check to get that firearm. So if they then want to buy a suppressor, what's the use of going through all of that ridiculous paperwork and all the other stuff you have to go through and pay a $200 tax stamp to the almighty government so you can get a permission slip with a stamp on it to own a suppressor? I've said it in plenty of videos and I'll say it again. But we all know that gun control doesn't work. And since most people don't know anything about suppressors, just what they see in the movies, they're really considered a safety device, not an evil thing that people use to try to get away with harming people. Now, with all of that said, and I think I really put down for everybody really good reasons why this new proposed bill should be passed. But like I mentioned earlier, the Republican rhinos, and of course the gun-hating Democrats on the left, which of course most of them, like I said, don't know anything about suppressors whatsoever, except what they see in the movies, they're not going to vote yes on this bill. And even though it's a great idea, I don't think it would pass in Congress. So I'd really like to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments. Do you think a bill like this actually has a chance to pass in today's Congress, even though the Republicans have a majority in both the House and the Senate, and we have a Republican president? And as always, I appreciate everybody that supports the channel, as well as the new subscribers to the channel. January was one of the best months I've had quite a long time. And it's all because of you guys that support the channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing and hitting those post notifications. And I'm so very grateful that you do so. And also, if you haven't done so already, let your family members, your friends, and your coworkers know about the channel. and I invite all of you to come back and watch my next video.